Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Legend of Korra news video and also speculation going into K411 Kuvira's Gambit. First of all, quick channel update. I'm just going to say right now, my Bleach season reviews are going to probably be delayed until the new year. Just because obviously with the end of Korra coming up and all the sort of stuff I need to do with that, including Legend of Korra Book 4 awards, Book 4 trivia on the site, and then some podcasts as well I have to organise and some other stuff with the podcast that I'll be talking about soon. A lot of stuff just going on with the other stuff that I cover on my channel, the Korra stuff. So that's why those Bleach videos are going to be delayed. So yeah, so for the next couple of weeks, until Korra comes to an end, and even after that, I suppose the focus of my channel will be almost completely on Korra. So just be aware of that, everyone. But yeah, news, only one thing since the last news video, and that is that obviously the Korra finale is coming out online on December 19th. We're getting episode 12, Day of the Colossus, and episode 13, the last episode, which is called The Last Stand. We're getting both of those online on December 18th. And the time that they usually go up is about 4 a.m. Eastern Time in America. For me, it's around 9, 10 a.m. here in Ireland, so that's good for me. But also, because Korra Book 4 is on Nicktoons now, they're actually doing same-day TV premiere of the Book 4 finale as well, because what they're doing on December 19th is airing the last 4 episodes of Book 4. So yeah, that's like a pretty cool thing they're doing. So they're putting out obviously episode 10, which obviously was completely blanking on the name of episode 10, even though it was just this week's episode, and I did a whole podcast about it. Operation Beifong. So they're airing Operation Beifong, Kuvira's Gambit, Day of the Colossus, and The Last Stand, all Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So it gives the option for anyone in America, if they have Nicktoons, to actually get that TV premiere experience if they want. If you just want to see those 2 new episodes and you don't want to have to do the online thing because it's available the same day, you can just avoid spoilers until nighttime and go on Nicktoons at 10, avoid the first 2 episodes because you've already seen them, and then just watch the 2 new episodes, Day of the Colossus and The Last Stand. So it's a cool option. It obviously doesn't matter to me because I'm an international fan, and the fact that it's going online much earlier is when I'm going to watch it. But it's a cool option just that they're doing this, that after all of the scheduling stuff and the switch to online, just the fact that you have 2 options on the day works for me. That's fine. That's the way the show is going to come to an end, that it'll be on TV and online the same day. Admittedly separated by most of the day, like a lot of hours, but same day. So that's the only piece of news I have. Only other thing I'll say with regards to the way I'm going to cover the finale, as I said before, going to have 2 reviews out that day, so separate reviews for episode 12, Day of the Colossus, and 13, The Last Stand. I'm going to do the review of episode 12 immediately after watching 12, so I won't have watched 13 when that review comes out. And then the second, I basically have that review done and I'm starting to have it processing or something like that, I'll watch episode 13 and I'm going to record myself watching episode 13. As I said before, I'm going to record me watching that whole episode, so it's just going to be like a 20-minute video of me probably sitting right here with my laptop here, watching it, reacting to it live. Last episode of Korra, that's what I'm going to be doing. So like I did with the Book 4 trailer, you're going to get my live reaction to that. And then, of course, immediately after that, I'm going to record my review of 13. So you're going to have 3 videos for me covering the Korra finale. So definitely look out for that. And, of course, we'll do 2 podcasts that week and stuff like that. And then all this other stuff, as I said, will be coming out. The Book 4 awards, I'll be doing a post on that. I'm going to be organising that over the next couple of days, weeks, and so on. But realistically, I don't think much is going to change from the Book 3 awards. I think most of the categories are going to be the same. Unless suddenly Spirit come heavily into it, we may have to introduce the Spirit award back in. other than that, I don't really think we're gonna be really doing that much. So yeah, other than that, speculation going into episode 11 of book 4, Kuvira's Gambit. That's this Friday's episode. So yeah, we have one preview clip, and that preview clip is of Batar and Kuvira. You know, they basically, Kuvira just announces that, look, last thing we have to do, get back Republic City, because Avatarang and Zuko stole a part of Earth Kingdom land and gave it to be a nation of its own. We're taking it back and reuniting the whole Earth Empire. Usual kind of thing you'd expect, given that she's attacking Republic City. And then her and Batar Jr. kind of have this kind of romantic moment somewhat. Batar says to her that he loves her. She doesn't say it back, but instead is just kind of like, yes, we'll dominate the world, and kind of comes in to hug him. And then she says, like, you know, after this we'll get married and stuff like that. So then you have that look at the camera. So the big thing going into this episode, it's called Kuvira's Gambit. And given this preview clip where you have this kind of like doubt over their relationship, it's mainly with Kuvira's side. Like, what you get from this relationship, given that we haven't seen much of it, is that Batar is in love with Kuvira, but you really don't know how she feels about him, because her as a character, you haven't really seen her show any sort of like emotion at all, apart from like a little bit of frustration at some of the things going wrong thanks to our heroes. But you haven't seen her react at all to much stuff happening, really. So that's going to be interesting to see, like, does she actually care for Batar, or is she going to be willing to basically sacrifice him if the need comes? Is the idea for the Gambit that I think most people have is that she's going to be put in a situation where she can't get out of it. Our heroes are going to like trap her or something like that, and she's going to turn on Batar and say, you know, if you don't go away, I'm going to kill him. Because obviously our good guys aren't going to allow one of like one of Lynn's kind of nephews and stuff like that. They're not going to allow one of Sue's children to just be killed because they're on opposite sides. They care and she doesn't. And there's a lot of potential here. If imagine this was her plan from the start, that the only reason she ever got together with Batar was to use him as this kind of last moment kind of backup plan if anything went wrong, that she was going to use this relationship against everyone. That would be insane. And what it also does is it creates a really interesting situation for Batar Jr. himself, in that you have so much potential next episode for his character development to come to the fore completely. Like if Kuvira did betray him, that would like completely like break him, probably. Like that would switch him onto the other side. That would have some crazy reaction. Like a lot of people are speculating that Batar may die in the remaining few episodes, and based on what's happening, it may be true. You know, he cares about his family, and as much as, you know, he's on Kuvira's side, he's definitely on her side more to prove himself to his family that he can do something big and important like they can, rather than like full evil power hungry stuff like Kuvira is, really. I definitely get the sense of that from him. So despite Batar not having much screen time, he's a super interesting character going into the remaining few episodes, and I think he's definitely been one of the most interestingly written ones in that sense, because he hasn't had much screen time, he hasn't had much talking time. There's only been like a couple of moments you can really say are like, ooh, this is a key moment for him. Like pretty much any conversation he's had with his father this season has been important, and that, you know, I'll once and for all get out of your shadow, you know, and stuff like that. He's all about proving himself. So he's got to be super interesting going forward. Really don't know which way they're going to go with it. Like right now, it's hard to see like another situation that's not just her using Batar Jr. as the Gambit, just based on the preview clip that we got in the name of the episode. Now the description for the episode that we have is basically that, you know, our heroes, you know, other characters basically try and stop this attack from even taking place. So I assume the main gist of the episode will be that the Bolin and, you know, that whole gang, you know, Opal, Julie and so on, will return to Republic City. Everyone's safe. Julie will reunite with Varric. Maybe we'll get some sort of nice reunion there, some backstory. That backstory on Varric that we're gonna get. Um, they'll all tell everyone about the attack in Republic City. They'll decide what to do to react, and they'll go to confront Kuvira before, because they obviously know where the weapon is now. That's another piece of information that they have. They know at this moment where Kuvira is. They have that weapon there. They'll want to fix that weapon before anything goes wrong. So that's interesting. And then the other thing of note is that she's going to attack in 2 weeks. That's a pretty long time gap considering we only have 3 episodes left. So unless the plan is just accelerated, something happens that basically puts the two in a position where maybe the battle either lasts a week or they damage each other enough to where they have to kind of just heal, wait 2 weeks, and then the battle commences again or something like that. That there is something that causes them to both wait until engaging each other. So that's an interesting dynamic to happen as well. And yeah, it's just really hard to predict exactly what the focus is going to be in the next episode. Because obviously we know from the description that like a fight is going to happen. Like they're going to do something to try and stop Kuvira. But we know from the episode 12 and 13 descriptions that the fight eventually does take place. That the battle takes place in Republic City in episode 12, and Kuvira and Korra fight in episode 13. So they're really general episode titles for the remaining few episodes, but they just give you a hint as to what happens. Like obviously, like like it makes sense at this moment in time, a few episodes left. They try and stop the attack, but it doesn't work, and the attack takes place anyway. And you know you have to put the heroes in a tough situation going into the finale. But yeah, you sort of wonder like. As well with Korra, there's another interesting thing going on in that. Are we going to pick up with her in the next episode, still in the spirit world, trying to find other spirits, or will she just be out of the spirit world and kind of thinking elsewhere? Like, okay, the spirits aren't going to help. There's nothing I can do with them. We just have to fight ourselves, and then the spirits will do whatever they want to do. Because the idea that I got from last episode was that the spirits, for me, the spirits are completely wrong in what they're saying. Like, they're trying to make Korra out like she's Kuvira, trying to use the spirits, but she's just asking them, like, basically the question, you know, like, why aren't you fighting for a place that you live and seem to care about, and these humans which you are now friends with, why aren't you fighting? Like, basically questioning, do they even care? Like, it's, like, the thing is, we don't know a lot about spirits. We don't know, like, what their whole goal is. A couple of spirits have these kind of roles in that, like, Heibai was the guardian of this forest, the Painted Lady is kind of the guardian of that town, and stuff like that. But really, like, a lot of them don't have, like, specific roles. They're just spirits, and they're in the spirit world. Sometimes they come into the physical world, but we really don't know exactly, like, what they do. So why are they so against, you know, fighting? We know that spirits attack humans before. We saw that in Beginnings. We've seen that at multiple times. Obviously with the fight with Unalaq, they can attack people. And at other points as well, you know, just people in the spirit world. Some of these more kind of darker, evil-looking spirits attack people. Fog of Lost Souls and stuff like that. So, it's interesting to see, like, why exactly they're so against helping people. Like, if they are friends with spirits, why aren't they helping? Why do they just leave? Because think about it this way. The setup at the start of this book, in that opening narration about Republic City being friends with the spirits, we see Gamu there. And he's around spirits. He's literally there. The spirits are like his kind of pets. Like, they're friends with him, really friendly. Like, just the fact that they're allowing, like, him to touch them and stuff like that. He's right there. It's a real friendship, you get the idea. Because Gamu is a really nice guy. He could bring benders and non-benders together during the revolution. So, of course, he's going to be friends with spirits. And think about it this way. The idea of just, like, Korra walks into the spirit world, spirits start to disappear. Gamu's just there, hanging out with his spirit friends, and suddenly they sense a little bit of danger coming to the city, and just leave to the spirit world. They don't even attempt to help Gamu, warn him. They just leave, and he's there, waiting imminent doom in Republic City. And it's just this idea that if they are friends, why don't they do something to help the people that they're friends with now? Why did they just flee, use this power that only they have? Not all humans can meditate into the spirit world. They go to hide in the spirit world someplace that most people can't go usually. And it really makes the spirits, I think, look bad in this situation and look super uncaring, like they're above it all. And so the idea that I got from that conversation that she had with that dragon spirit was that, Korra, all she wants is for them to work together. If they're going to live together, you have to be fully in. You can't just live there and get all the good from living with humans and then just avoid all the bad. You have to be there. That's kind of what Korra does. She takes the good and the bad. She enjoys living in the city, living wherever, but she's also going to step in when stuff goes wrong. While the spirits are kind of like, okay, it's peaceful, we'll live in the city for 3 years. Oh no, something bad's coming, we'll just leave. They're very selective with what they want from humans, and then won't do other things. So, very interesting dynamic going on here. And I think what Korra is going to do is she is going to fight to protect both. She's going to, if there's any speeches to be made in the final battle, she's going to make it very clear that she's fighting for humans and spirits. That she is fighting Kuvira not just because she's taking over the Earth Empire, but because she's abusing spirits. And Korra's going to probably make it very clear about that. Some spirit, maybe one that we know, is going to be inspired by this and actually try to fight. And that spirit inspires other ones, and we maybe get a little bit of a spirit fight back as well. I don't think we're going to get a full-on spirit army, but what I think is that they'll jump in to help. Sorry about that, some of my action figures just fell over there. And what I think is really going to happen is that they're not going to just be fighting, taking out humans left, right, and centre. What they'll do is they'll come in. We know spirits have the ability to, some of them, to take over technology. They did with Bolin's kind of snow speeder thing. So what they'll do is they'll hop into Kuvira's mechs or something like that. So whatever this Colossus machine is, maybe they'll take over that, destroy it, and leave it just for the Benders to battle it out or something like that. Maybe one or two of the spirits will get involved with the Benders fighting, and stuff like that, because that makes sense. One thing that's been disappointing in the last few seasons has just been that since book 2, we haven't had a lot of focus on really what the spirits are up to. A lot of the stuff's kind of been resolved off screen, and I think it's extremely important that we get a moment in the series that the spirits and humans actually work together. And you have that moment where you really show that Korra has made something happen that very few people in the past could ever hope to accomplish. Making humans and spirits not just live together peacefully, but actually work together, fight to help each other. And you really have hope for the kind of world going forward, that the two are close, that it's not just we'll reluctantly live together with these other species, that they're actually going to live peacefully together and help each other out. And that would work really well, because ultimately the show is called The Legend of Korra. What would make her more of a legend than completely and utterly fixing that relationship that has been up in the balance, that hasn't been right for over 10,000 years. That would be one of Korra's biggest accomplishments. And that would set the stage, because obviously with the spirits arriving in, taking out some of the army, that would level the playing field for our more kind of powerful hero characters to take on more of Kuvira's just normal army. And that would leave the stage open for Korra versus Kuvira final battle. Now obviously this is speculating way into the future and not specifically next episode, because I think it's kind of difficult to really know what specifically is happening next episode. But the spirit canon itself is of note as well, probably, because how are they going to get this giant thing that required train tracks to aim at a city to have any impact on the battle in Republic City? Sure, they can aim it in the general direction of Republic City and fire, but I assume the beam, despite how much energy it has, is going to stop somewhere. So they're going to need to find a way to move that thing a lot more easily, and I think the idea that they're going for is with the Day of Colossus thing is that they install this giant spirit cannon onto a giant mech suit thing to carry it around and shoot. that's the only thing that really makes sense to actually make this cannon movable and useful in battle. And maybe the 14 days is to repair the cannon, because even though it wasn't like super crazy damaged, it was to some extent damaged. It got a few bending attacks on it, so um, that's of note. But other than that, like characters like Wu, Mako, like what are they going to do? Asami, like is Hiroshi actually going to come back into things? A lot of stuff to happen in the last 3 episodes, as well as having the series have like a nice ending. Like you can't just end this like any other season with like, okay, Korra does something cool, she smiles at the camera at the end, and you end it, and that's the end of the series. You kind of have to have some sort of like epilogue and something really notable that makes this the end of the series, not just one season. So, very interested to see what they do to like just have that ending moment. But yeah, like Wu, they did something with him last episode, obviously with the good suggestion, but then he kind of ruined it by saying he just did it to try and date Korra. So maybe you have him make an even bigger statement or something like that and really show that he has developed, but it's hard to predict. It definitely is. Definitely in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are going into obviously onto this Friday's episode. But for now, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.